Welcome back to the Realist channel. You know, it's one of those sad times. The reason why it's one of those sad times is because we're coming to the end of what was a golden era. We're coming to the end of what made me known to most of you guys at home. We're coming to the end of where history was made. We're coming to the end of, where a lot of glorious nights, were experienced. So it's not really a happy time, but it's a mixed bag. That's what we call it, a mixed bag. My favorite double-edged sword. It's one of those times. YouTube boxing, I feel like the glory days are well and truly over. Some may say it isn't, but I feel like we've reached the end. There's one fight left that needs to happen, that should happen, and that I have total interest in happening. But enough of the sub story. Let's switch the energy. We're going to talk about the greatest YouTube boxing matches in history right here today on this video. Before we get into my top 5, because I'm only going to do 5. Before I get into my top 5, I just want to say it's been an absolute honor to be a part of these events. I've been a part of most of the events that are on this list, which is why they're there, because I've experienced it firsthand. But there is also an entry from an event that I had no part in at all. But it was really a life-changing experience. And it really goes to show what an entrepreneurial mind, a great team, great influencers, great crowd, great fans can really do when you put your mind to something. Because something brand new happened in 2018 when Joe Weller fought JJ, and it was a huge event, sold out arena, millions of people watching worldwide, and it just continued to grow from there. So we're really gonna pay some tribute. We're gonna pay some respects to the people who participated in these events and who made a new groundbreaking system that the likes of myself, people like Ryan Garcia, a lot of fighters, legitimate fighters, have managed to benefit from and build their careers off these guys being who they are and bringing what they brought to the sport. So at number 5, my first entry is FouseyTube versus Slim. Reason being, these guys didn't go the traditional route of promoting a YouTube boxing event by using OP Talent, who always do a great job, shout out to OP, and Upload Events, who also played their part in putting those shows together, the biggest shows that we've seen in the YouTube community. They went a separate way. They used the Mayor Khan Promotions and the Mayor Khan's Foundation to put on a show. This was in Youghal, East London. For those that don't know, Youghal is a very prestigious venue. A lot of great British athletes, boxers have had a fight there and have enjoyed fighting there, and they will tell you how great it is to fight there, being that the atmosphere is so electric. It's great that they even put on a show in that venue. The fight, skill-wise, terrible. That's just me being honest. At the end of the day, you're on the Realist channel. You're here to hear my opinion. And if you don't like it, there's pure other channels out there that you can go and watch. But in my opinion, the boxing was trash. They did train hard. They did take the sport seriously from what I saw. They did prepare. But when it came to fight night, none of the skills that were, taught by any decent trainer out there were performed. But it made for a very entertaining fight. And at the end of the day, boxing is a form of entertainment, and I was entertained. So, with that in mind, let's get into some fight highlights, because I remember watching this. I remember how entertaining it was. I'm actually excited to see it again. So let's go. So we're in round 1 here, and they went straight at it. It was straight scrapping. From the moment the bell went, Fousey was chasing Slim down. And I don't know how that happened. Let's just pause that right there. I don't know how that happened. He hit him in his arm. Well, I do. But, I mean, from the skill level, he had no balance. That's basically how it happened. But he got hit in his arm and fell completely to the ground, which is, again, very entertaining, but just terrible quality of boxing. But let's just see that again. See him there. Fousey slaps him in the arm. He falls straight into the ropes. Didn't count as a knockdown, as it shouldn't have. But then again, if you contact the person and they fall, it could be a knockdown. But they let them off, fair enough. Slim with a good lead right hand there, keeping the distance. Another one right there. Another 1-2 right there. And Fuzi's eating these shots. That's the first thing I remember. He displayed toughness. Toughness in boxing shouldn't be displayed unless the person really forces it out of you. The best toughness is not getting hit. That is the best toughness. But this guy, he's going barbaric. He's coming forward, hands down, eating shots and continuing to walk forward. So credit to him. He displayed his toughness, but you know, you don't want to be slurring words and all that, and your kids asking you, Dad, what did you say? Can you say that again? Can you say that again? You don't want to be in that position, so avoid shots. Whoever's boxing out there, whoever's fighting out there, avoid punches, keep your senses back into the clip. So he's eating a few jabs, straight right hands, eats a combination, stumbles away, referee gives a standing count, Slim does a little dancing with the hips. Because that's what I'm saying, it was entertaining, like it was really entertaining. And you can see that the crowd are really engaged with what's going on. That's why it's made my number 5. Runs in, Fuzi runs in again, another 1-2. And they're going toe to toe here, scrapping. And then, I don't know if you have noticed, but that round, according to the clock at the bottom of the screen, alright, so there's 2 seconds left in the round right now. Okay, time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That round ran 7 seconds over, according to the clock at the bottom of the screen anyway. The time ran out and them man was still scrapping for 7 seconds after the bell that should have came. Obviously, there wasn't the bell because someone wasn't keeping the time because they was obviously as entertained as I am right now. But again, it just goes to show, man, these guys were doing their absolute best to entertain the fans, and they did. Nice straight right hand by Slim, which you could see was a pattern throughout the fight, and Fuzi had no answer to defending it. Corner really should have pulled him out. Just as I said that the towel, yeah, that's when the towel came in. Because you can see he's defenseless, like he's not really protecting himself, right? Another point which is interesting to me, if you have a look at each turnbuckle, every professional boxing match, they have sponsors on each corner of the ring. And one of the sponsors for this event was SingleMuslims.com. Now, to me, that is funny. I don't know why, but I don't know how they thought this was a great idea. I guess SingleMuslims.com threw the bag at them and said, look, put our thing on there, here's the peas. It doesn't really make sense in my head. SingleMuslims.com, it don't really seem like a thing that should exist or should be a thing. You know, I surround myself around a lot of Muslims. I respect the religion. I respect everything about them. And I don't know if SingleMuslims.com is one of those things that should be out there and promoted. But yeah, FuziTube and Slim, entry number 5. And we'll move on to the next. So, entry number 4 in my top 5 greatest YouTube boxing matches ever is KSI versus Joe Weller. Now, the reason I put this at number 4, some thought it would be higher, is because, to be honest, in terms of how groundbreaking the event was, yeah, it goes at number 1 because it was the pioneering event. But in terms of judging it as a collective, quality of the fight, combined with, you know, the fact that it was the pioneering event, it does come at number 4 for me. This event, as we know, was life-changing. This was where I was known to the world as the coach of KSI, as JJ, and it really did open up some doors for me that I am still opening and still enjoying the fruits of the labor to this day. So definitely a personal landmark for me and something I'm so grateful to be a part of. Copper Box sold out, 8,000 people, streamed worldwide for everyone to see. Undercards were entertaining, not great skill level, but entertaining. Joe Weller and JJ done a great job of promoting the fight and making it a spectacle. And to this day, it still goes down in my eyes as JJ's best boxing performance. He done everything he was instructed to do. He was in great shape. He was at the optimal weight of competition for him, I believe, which was around 80 kg, 83 kilograms. It was definitely his best performance, and I think he gained a lot of respect from the boxing world and from athletes and from everybody. The fact that he was a gamer and he never done anything that involved combat and actually put on a very good performance. So entry number 4 is Joe Weller and JJ. We'll just get a few clips up. I know everyone has seen it. See, JJ's got his hands down, he's flicking his jab out, keeping the distance, shooting a good straight to the body, round the corner. He used a lot of good angles, you know, that's what I was happy with. He didn't throw the same punches, he wasn't predictable. Even though his defense was non-existent, his attack did vary, and that's what kept Joe Weller off balance, and that's what led to a dominating performance. Using the backhand in all different ways, uppercuts, hooks, round the side, head, body. Very good performance. And you can see there he was eating the jabs and the punches that Weller was throwing. It's just that JJ does punch hard. This is good. This was when Joe got some shots going. And he should have done that more in the fight. But again, JJ does have brute force strength. And when you walk into, the uppercuts like that, let's just bring that back quickly. Bang, uppercut there. Shots like that deter you from coming forward. You can see me and you can see me hyping in the corner. Good uppercut again from JJ. Let's forward this now. You know what? JJ did get hit quite a bit when you watch this back. Like, he did take quite a few shots because he wasn't really defending. But his attack was so superior to Joe Weller's that he ended up winning the battle. It's good. It was good for someone's first boxing performance in front of that many people on such a big stage with so much pressure. He delivered. He came through. So you see, at this point, Joe Weller's nose started bleeding. JJ was landing some dangerous shots, and then Weller got the standing count. JJ went straight to the neutral corner as instructed. And the funny thing is, even on the commentary, you can hear Brian and you can hear Loz saying JJ's coach. He will be able to hear JJ's coach shouting over his shoulder. And at this point, you know, I wasn't really known to anybody. So by the time the second fight came, they were like, Viddal Riley, you can hear Viddal Riley, you can hear Viddal Riley. And then the first fight is like JJ's coach. So it really goes to show, you know, the awareness level that came over time from being involved in these events. And yeah, that's even that bit there, something so minuscule, is a great representation of growth. JJ looked directly over at me. He knew what to do. He landed another barrage of punches, and then he gets another count. At this point now, I knew JJ was going to win the fight, and I knew Weller was willing to quit because he went to his home corner. And, you know, it's like retreating back to your home. You can see us hyping in the corner, bringing a lot of energy. And here we go. He goes back in, and then this is where the fight ends. The famous footage of the 2 right hooks. Weller's losing his balance. JJ wins. And then Harry, I remember, first gets in the ring, yeah. And that was hype. And that's my number 4 entry. So, yeah, very interesting fight. In terms of how groundbreaking it was, in terms of the performance that was put in, and how dominant it was. And yeah, number 4 is KSI and Joe Weller. Number 3 out of the greatest YouTube boxing matches ever is KSI versus Logan Paul 1. Now, we've seen how Joe Weller and JJ started the trend of big YouTube boxing events happening, and for that Joe Weller doesn't get enough credit. And I do want to shout out Joe Weller quickly for doing that, because he did have that fight against a guy I forgot in the gym. I forgot his name, but he did start it, and then JJ replied, and that's how the whole thing even happened. But yeah, shout out Joe Weller. Anyway, shout out Joe Weller. We've now taken it up one notch. We've done a bigger venue. We've done pay-per-view now. We've done international competition. It's crossed. It's gone across seas now. Press conferences, big media build-ups to these events. This is what's happening now with KSI and Logan 1. This is what has been developed all independently without the help of any major boxing promoter. So we're talking 20,000 people, Manchester Arena, Michael Buffer doing the announcement. Let's get ready to rumble. Someone that is such a legend in the boxing world is now shouting out, or announcing, I should say, Logan Paul's name and KSI's name. These two YouTubers that shouldn't even be in the ring in this position, but they've made it work through their years of hard work in other ventures. They have got this many people involved in, you know, what they're doing. So this is number 3 for me. This was now, I've got a reputation to upkeep. I've managed to build a reputation that I am a good trainer and I do produce winners and I do help, you know, these guys that are not fighters become fighters, and alongside Leon, of course. And yeah, this was a chance on the major stage to show my ability against someone who looks more menacing. He used to wrestle. He has that that brash persona who is coming to embarrass me and make me look bad, as well as making JJ look bad. So yeah, there was a lot riding on this event. It was also a very good experience for me because I was in the corner with my dad. My dad taught me everything I know when it comes to boxing, and it was great to be in a position where I could be in a corner and coach alongside him, taking the knowledge that he gave me and passing it on to JJ, but actually having him there, you know, to be there with me and go through that whole experience was a great personal moment for me also in KSI and Logan Paul 1. So let's see the highlights, let's see the shaky bits, and let's see where JJ does what he always does, which is dig deep, uses his heart, resolve, and strength to pull through and get results. So we got round 1 here, and JJ thought he could box Logan how he boxed Joella on the outside, picking his punches. But then he met someone with a longer reach, someone with quicker hands, you know, someone who was taught to use their distance. So this is where the difficulty was raised. Going into this fight, we didn't know how Logan could box. He done a great job of keeping that under wraps. So you see here, you know, the first round, JJ was a bit like, okay, you're far away. How am I going to get to you? How am I going to get close to you? It was a very difficult thing. This is 2 minutes 15 into the first round. So you saw round 1 there was kind of the pattern for the first 2 rounds and even half of the third round. When JJ comes back to the corner after the third round, I said to him, you have to fight this guy. You see me yelling, I'm very animated if you guys remember the fight. And I'm like, you have to fight him. You can't box him. You have to fight him because he's a boxer. Anyone that's a boxer, you fight him. Anyone that's a fighter, you box him. That's how it goes. That's literally the method of boxing. That's how it goes. And he was trying to box a guy that's a boxer. You can't do that. So, yeah, by the time we fast forward, which we're going to go into right now, round 6, you see it turns into a scrap, and that's where it becomes JJ's fight. So you can see, even physically, you know, the physicality of the fight, JJ, there was a lot more in the clinch. He was a lot more rough, and this is where he managed to get Logan to tire out. He's very muscle bound. We know muscles absorb a lot of oxygen and it builds lactic acid, and it's hard to perform. You see JJ swinging there. Form is terrible, but he knows he wants to win, and that's one thing about him. He just has that resolve in him where he wants to win. Logan is exhausted at this point. So is JJ, and it's all about who can dig deep. And he's swinging. He's swinging. It's the final minute of the fight now, and you can see JJ swinging. And that's one thing, his cardio, I always made sure his cardio was good. Leon always made sure his cardio was on point, because that's the one thing you need, you know. It's the one thing you need, you know. Cardio in boxing. Let me pause it there, as we know what happens in the rest of the fight. But the thing that got JJ through that fight was not only his heart and strength, but as I was mentioning, his cardio. Cardio in boxing is like having it's your base. it's your base. You know, having all the punches and stuff is like the decorations, but you need a base, you need a foundation, and that begins at cardio. For those that don't know, I have a very sweet tooth, yeah, and I like to compare things to food if I can. You know, having cardio is like the biscuit base of a cheesecake. You can't have a cheesecake without a biscuit base, right? And cardio in boxing is the biscuit base. Of course, you can add your little ripple effect on top. You can add the flavor of what you want it to be. But at the end of the day, if it don't have a biscuit base, it's not a cheesecake. And that is what JJ has, cardio. And we saw that again when they had the rematch. It's cardio, and it's just about being able to outpunch your opponent no matter what skill level they have. And if their cardio doesn't match, you will win. So, number 3, KSI Logan Paul won. Number 2 is Jay Swingler versus Anison Gibb. Now, in terms of toe-to-toe battles, this is the best fight ever. 100%. No dispute, no discussion. Don't want your opinion. Didn't ask for it. Gibb and Jay went toe-to-toe. So I knew going into this fight, obviously as the coach for Gibb, toughness was never going to be up for question from Jay Swingler. Gibb, coming off a very dominating performance against Max. We all know Max is no threat to Gibb at all, and we expected him to do what he done. However, I didn't think Jay would be a problem boxing wise, but I knew he wouldn't fold or quit as soon as Max did. And that is why, from a coaching perspective, it was interesting, because it was about to be a test for my guy. It's going to be his first test to see what he does when someone's actually willing to give him some punches back and not just be the punching bag, right? So training Gibb, we know what he's going to do. Everyone knows what Gibb's coming to do. He's coming forward to apply heat, to apply pressure, and dominate the fight. That's his game plan. No matter what you throw at me, I'm coming forward and I'm coming to dominate. He went into this fight, with that approach. Jay knows this, and he was overwhelmed for a large portion of that fight. But there was also times where he bit down on his gum shield and said, I'm not going to let you just run in here and violate me. That is not what we're going to let happen here. And all respect to him, because he really did make a great fight. And I believe it's the most toe-to-toe battle that you're going to witness. Gibb's eye was closing. Jay's nose is bleeding. One guy's getting a count. Another guy looks like he's going to get a count. And it was a great fight before Jake and Deji, because it really made the audience realize these guys are out here to hurt each other. As much as they're entertainers, as much as they're YouTubers, as much as they do a little gimmicky stuff, they were actually in this ring to hurt the other person. And that is what makes this fight very interesting. So we're going to get into a little clip here, just so we can see a little highlight of what actually went down during that fight. So you see Gibb doing what Gibb does. Running in with the punches, little showboating. Gibb swinging, very open as we know, but he's bulldozing his way forward. Attacking body, attacking head. Jay Swingler goes for a wild swing there, misses, covers up, Gibb swinging to the body. And you see Jay was swinging back. Like, as I said, this guy, I respect him, man. I respect him. Because he went out to try and scrap. Oh, good. That's probably the best shot that Gibbs landed in his career. This right hook right there. Let's go back. Minute 25 in the clip. Bang. Boom. Right hook right there. And I don't know how Jay didn't even fall from that. He was still standing. And the referee didn't even give a count. Shout out to the ref. He was letting them scrap. And he started swinging back. Look. He started swinging back immediately. Look at this. Look at this fight. Guys, look at this fight. Gibb there has got hit with like 3 right hooks in a row. Yeah. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, took 4 shots in a row and then started scrapping, throwing immediately back at Jay. Jay's on the ropes now. Nose bleeding. Still swinging. Oh, that shot there from Jay as well hit Gibb straight on the chin, turned his head. Look at that, and then the 1-2 as well. Oh, 1-2 bang, big shots. Gibb literally, that was at the end of the round as well. And then Gibb comes out next round swinging again. This is the he nearly pushes him through the ropes there. This is mad. Now, even watching it right now, it's like, I've seen this a lot of times, but it's still one of those toe-to-toe battles. This is what people pay to see. And he pushes him out the rope again. Gibb being naughty there in the ring. But that's one thing, man. That's one thing you can never take away from any of these guys is the entertainment value. They built their careers off being entertainers. And when they decided to venture into the boxing realm, they definitely brought that element along with them. I don't care what you say about Gibb. He makes you want to watch what he's doing. You know, he makes you interested in what he is doing. Despite the outcome, you put it on your list of things that you want to see him fight. He's entertaining, and you know he's got a character, he's got a personality, and he all those things in the build up to this fight he used to hype this fight. And when he got in, he didn't disappoint, and neither did Jay. Both guys there, toe to toe, scrapping, and just giving people what they want to see, which is pure brutality and pure violence. And how can you ever say that you didn't enjoy that fight if you come to watch the sport of boxing, which predominantly is about pain? So shout out to Jay Swingler, shout out to Anison Gibb, my brother, because they done their thing in that fight. Officially, they done their thing. That was a scrap. Okay, so that's the number 2 entry. Now, as you all could guess, as you all can assume, the number 1 fight in YouTube boxing history is KSI versus Logan 2. Because not only were records broken, not only were boundaries, completely exceeded, but these guys went from, let's just break this down. Let's just put this down to a very pure level before everyone that throws the hate out there. Logan, which I found out recently, started off on Vine. JJ, as we know, started off on FIFA. Okay? Just 2 innocent guys just living their life, entertainers, building their brand. 10 years for JJ, 8 years for Logan, 7, I think, into their careers that they've been building. They end up headlining the biggest show of the year, Staples Center, sold out, stars in attendance, star rappers walking out with JJ, The Zone, Matchroom Boxing, have it decided we're going to invest into these 2 entertainers to scrap. And when you think about it, it's crazy that they managed to achieve that. And there is it is not up for discussion that this is the biggest YouTube boxing match, the greatest YouTube boxing match of all time. Yeah, there's been better actual fights. The actual fight itself, yes, there's been better fights. There's been more entertaining fights. But when it comes to the magnitude of the event, this is by far number 1. We had a great build-up, great press conferences. Me and Shannon had our little bickering, which, by the way, again, just to notify the people at home, I do not have a sustained or prolonged dislike for any of those guys. I just take it as part of the event. Shout out to Shannon Briggs for allowing me to have a side platform and a side story from being the coach, because it takes two to tango. It takes 2 to make these things work. And he definitely done his part, and our little side rivalry and trash talk and whatever you want to call it made for another spectacle, and it became a part of the event. People knew when me and Shannon saw each other, something was going to be said. There was going to be some sort of back and forth. And it all adds to the hype of the event. And it definitely raised my profile to a whole new demographic. So again, Shout out to Shannon Briggs himself. But when you really sit down and reflect and talk on it, and you watch it and you see it on TV, you see the cameras and you see what you was really a part of, nothing but appreciation. Eternally, honestly, forever, I'll forever be appreciative to be a part of such an event. And the fight itself was also very entertaining, so we're gonna keep it very brief. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it very, very brief. I don't want no trouble with no one. I don't want no claims from no one. So you see Logan there, comes out in the USA kit, as they do. It seems to be a nice little trend. If you fight someone from somewhere else, you wear a US kit. JJ comes out walking very aggressively. He was hyped for this fight, you know. And then look at it there, like even on the screen for the zone to credit me in that way, you know, to have JJ's name there, and then it says trained by 8-time UK amateur champion Viddal Riley. It's just another thing, you know. It just adds to, again, the appreciation and the magnitude of the event to be involved and have my name like that on screen. JJ basically done what he should have done in the first fight. He done it from the beginning. He took the fight straight to Logan. Yeah, the form weren't great. Yeah, he was swinging wild. But he knows that's what Logan doesn't like. Good jab from Logan. That continued from the first fight over to the second fight. But the difference was the retaliation from JJ. JJ retaliated with spite. He retaliated with force. He come on smoke. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, he had me worried. That, whether it was a knockdown or not, I don't think... I think it was on the side of the head. Still to this day, I change my mind all the time depending on how I see it. Let's forward it. And then we go into the clip here where JJ gets hit with the uppercut. His legs go. And Logan punches him at the back of the head whilst he's on the floor, which ends up being a very big factor in how the fight was scored. Beautiful uppercut from Logan. I was telling that to his face, and I think I have done. And he just didn't keep his composure by holding the back of the head, landing another uppercut, and then punching him when he was on the ground. And then round 6 now, in the final round, both guys are fatigued. JJ's swinging, chasing him around the ring. And yeah, the crowd's going crazy. This is the pinnacle of YouTube boxing. I don't know if any night will go ahead of this night when it comes to YouTube boxing. Maybe JJ versus Jake, but still I don't think it's the same. Rematches always have more intent and more, you know, of a storyline than a first fight. Even though he beat his brother and all that, it's not the same, you know. These guys are the ones that started it, and I don't know if it will ever be the same. Then we get the decision from the United Kingdom, and that is that moment where everyone went crazy. You see me jumping around in the ring. I'm thinking, thank God. At that moment, I'm just like, yes, we did it. Shannon is pissed. And I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm talking about. And one of the best pictures of me and JJ was captured at that moment when he's on his knees in the middle of the ring. I'm on mine, and we have a very, you know, a very loving hug because we realized how much went in to getting that victory. And that picture, yeah, is one of, I think that might be the best picture me and him have together, just because it really tells a large story, a big story of what we went through to get there. He didn't like me the whole time. He was pissing me off the whole time. And I'm sure there were times where he was like, you know what, I don't need Viddal. He's getting on my nerves. But we stuck by each other. We got through and we got the result and we made history. And for that reason, my greatest YouTube boxing match ever is KSI versus Logan Paul 2. It's the realest channel. It will forever be the realest channel. And you will always get 37% off at myprotein.com if you use Viddal on checkout. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be back soon, hopefully with a big announcement, because I do have things cooking up for myself as well. And I'm forever thankful to the community for allowing me to be a part of some groundbreaking stuff. Now we move on to the next chapter and life continues. If you don't know what I do at the end of videos, you haven't been watching long enough. In 3, 2, 1, boom!
Flow, cold, flow, sub-zero.
Yeah, switched up how I murder. No rapper on my parallel. Ay. Perfect combo with the milk and cookies. Ay. No strap, no shank, no felon. All I do is think the weapon. I'm the jack of every single trade. No, we ballin' when they're sick. Money paid, no stress in the camp. How can I stress when I'm